So in the previous video we constructed our ellipse. So as I said, some of the key pointers of this, I was turning my page round rather than obviously turning my arm round, so I'm drawing lines that are comfortable and therefore straight. I'm trying to make sure, in this case I'm only using 30-degree lines for my x-axis there and 90-degree lines for my y-axis there. Okay, I need to maintain those. I obviously split the point up through the corner points there to find the center. I split it again to break this down into quadrants, and then we marked a point at 2/3 of the way where we're going to plot through from the cross point there, through that 2/3 point, and then across to the top. Now what we're going to do is to turn this into a cylinder. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is use my other axis, this z-axis, to demonstrate depth. So what I'm going to do is practice my line going off at 30 degrees like this, and then I'm going to draw 3 lines in, one there. Hopefully I'm trying to keep this parallel so I can turn the paper around so it's comfortable, ghost the line, practice the line in, and then drop it in, number 2, and then finally number 3 like this, going out. Okay, now at this point I want to decide how deep or how long my extrusion is going to be, so I'm just going to put a point on one of these lines. You could do it there, at the bottom, over here, it doesn't really matter, and I'm going to construct my square on the back. So I'm using that line as practice, as guidance. I'm ghosting my line into my point there and then lowering the pencil down to get my point there. I'm turning the paper round again and then using this axis, the y-axis there, to draw my line and just plotting that last point in like this. Okay, now what we've got there is a square at the back. What I could do if I want, as long as I can understand this, is finish off the square again, making sure I keep my parallels going like this to finish that square at the back, and you should find that this stays accurate and stays you know, all in place. Something's gone a little bit off there, I think, like this, because effectively this point and this point should line up at 30 degrees there. So I've got a square at the back as well. Now all I'm going to do, I could construct the square exactly as I did on the front and kind of plot it to the back, but really I'm only concerned with this part of the curve. So I'm looking for the point on the curve where, if I draw my line out like this, it will form the edge of the circle. So it's that point there. Okay, I'm then going to do the same on the bottom here and draw my line out like this at the bottom point. So I can't do this any further round because obviously it will start coming out away from the circle. So it's at that point where the circle dips down and then disappears. Okay, now what I'm then going to do at these points where I've decided on the size of the square like this is I'm going to take this curve, I'm going to practice this curve a few times with my arm like this, and then practice drawing it through those 2 points like this. Okay, so we should have the same curve here as we've got here through practicing it. Now as I said, there is more technical ways to do this, there's ways to get this more accurate, but for the purpose of a quick sketch, this is a quick way that you can draw an oval or an ellipse and obviously create this or turn this into a 3-dimensional cylinder.